25 minutes to 1 o'clock on Harare's Heartbeat 100.4 FM. You can also tune in online in case the network is playing funnies with you. You can actually connect with us online on Iono FM or on the Zim Papers app. Yes, you can download the Zim Papers app and you can, just click on the capital and you'll be able to listen to us online. So let your friends and family in the diaspora know that they don't have to be in distress when Capital 100.4 FM is right there. It's just a click away. We're getting into Hustle Hard, and our guest every Monday within the first hour is George Billionaire. I actually found the song and then I lost it. A Billy. I wanted to, but then I think we'll do it next week. He's fondly known as Uncle Billy here on Hustle Hard. And if you are sending through your questions, your comments, or contributions, it'll be nice to say, "Hey, Uncle Billy," first, and then you ask your question. Today we are talking all things June Men's Mental Health Month, but we are focusing on men in business. What are men in business doing? What are they getting up to? How are they managing with the stress levels, with everything that has got to do with business? So what we are trying to do by the end of this discussion is we want to reduce the stigma around men's mental health. We want to encourage open conversations about mental wellness. We want to support men in seeking help when needed. And some key issues that are affecting men's health include societal expectations and traditional masculinity norms, depression and anxiety, trauma and stress, and also substance abuse. You know how they say, but we are seeing it day in and day out, especially with the way times are changing. Men are going through the most, and George Billionaire is in the building. Holla, holla, George.
Holla, holla.
What do?
It's your boy, George Billionaire.
Yep.
Back in the building, we have none other, internationally known. She goes by the name Becky K. She's been away. Right. On a mission, doing this and that.
Doing the Lord's work.
Doing the hustle, doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
But today, Becky, I want to begin the show by saluting.
Yes.
All of the amazing fathers out there.
That's right. Oh yeah, happy belated Father's Day.
Thank you. I want to say to all those amazing fathers, there are people yesterday who may not have received an affirmation.
Yeah.
A little note like I got in the morning from my daughter, my son, a little word of encouragement, because fathers who are fathers have done the most to make sure that all of these people have come on earth.
Right.
The role of a father is to provide, to take care, to do all these many things. But fathers are, in this current time, not celebrated. They are not acknowledged. They are not affirmed. Now, one thing about men, one of the major love languages of a man is affirmation.
Right.
Thank you so much. Maita, mabadara ichi. There's a lot happening right now, especially as you mentioned that this month is, a special month to deal with men. There's a lot that a man has to go through in order to provide, just to provide. And a very simple thing about men will never hear anything encouraging about themselves until they are 6 feet under. On their funeral, unfortunately, they won't be able to hear. Oh, wow. That's when you hear the moms, the children, people beginning to say, he was such a hard worker, he provided, he did this, that, and the other. But whilst the man is still there, give him the flowers, appreciate him. There are so many fathers out there who, because of the way the mothers have wanted to, paint the story of how the father was not involved, it has brainwashed many children to dislike, and at the end of the day has now failed for those children to honor their father and mother. They only honor their mother, but they forget that their father behind the scene plays a major role. So we need to get to a place where, Father's Day is the 25th most celebrated holiday, after all these Halloweens, all these other funny things. But fathers are not acknowledged. When you look at what fathers get on Father's Day, fathers don't ask for much.
No, they don't.
But, it's funny that, people were saying on Father's Day, The mothers are asking the fathers, where are we going for lunch to celebrate your Father's
Because
Day?
if it wasn't for me,
Imagine that.
you wouldn't be a
But what
father.
about doing something? Make sure, you host a braai for him. You buy him his favorite bottle of this. You buy him some cologne. You give him, something. It doesn't have to be much, but it's the thought that counts. So it's important that, all fathers out there are celebrated. And we need to get away from this thing that, a father is a father. Come what may.
Yeah.
You need to honor them. There's so many people who honor their spiritual fathers in
More
context,
than, yeah.
and then they don't honor their own father. They will go and do many things there at the churches, but they forget their own father. Their own father does not have a new pair of shoes, but you're going out there and you are honoring someone else, yet your own father does not have a new phone, does not have a suit, has not received a pair of shoes from his son or daughter. So there's a specific, commandment which was given by God to say, and it's in all religions. All religions get it correctly.
That's
It's
true.
it's a
All
must
of
that
them.
you must honor those who brought you into this life. They may not be perfect, but honoring them is of paramount importance because it will go well with you. So no matter what, your parents may not be the best role model, but the important thing here is honor them, bless them, take care of them. You may not have to necessarily do what they do because there are many avenues of being taught how to become a great son or daughter, but honor them for just that they did. It may have been taking you to school. It may have been, providing and taking care of you. But anyway, let's salute all the fathers.
True story.
If you didn't call your dad, go old school, write a little note. There's nothing more emotional for a father to see pen and paper writing down all those amazing things. That's what gets to the heart of a man.
Yeah.
So make sure you acknowledge.
We got some people agreeing with you, actually, saying, yeah, you're telling the truth. maybe
Yeah,
not
because we
recognize
with
as
our
much as
fathers,
they
after
should.
they go through so much,
And
all
they
they
do,
want
and
is
they
just
do.
thank you, Dad. I appreciate you for all you did.
While we're still on that, it's just funny how Father's Day is the only day that we celebrate with the question mark. But when we say Mother's Day, or like Happy Mother's Day, we never say Happy Mother's Day to all the good mothers. We always just say Happy Mother's Day.
And that's it.
But Father's Day, Happy Father's Day to all the responsible fathers. And you're like, why not just say Happy
But
Father's
why?
Day?
And
do you
there's
have to
always
deep
you always get that mother who thinks she's a
a
father,
father, oh.
who wants to give a shout out to herself.
I was like that one.
Imagine
and then
that.
I repented.
You want to now say, there was no, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we need, because what we're training, a country without fathers will lead to an increase in our prison cells. It is proven that a family that does not have a father in a household, that child, male or female, will be more inclined to substance abuse, crime, and do bad things because there's no father role in order to shape that child in who they should be.
Yeah.
But then worse more when the other parent, be it the mom, wants to say the worst things about dad, and yet these children may be polluted in their minds to think that father is not providing, but yet because father has been given limitation and not getting access to the child,
Yeah.
the child never knew. They grew up thinking father never paid school fees, but father paid all the school fees direct to the school. It never came through.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the mother creates this facade. And what it does ultimately, only when a child grows up and gets to realize you've damaged a child's upbringing,
And
they've
reverse
hated somebody without need for hating them. Maybe at that time, it was safer for the father to have left the mom because there were so many, and it's a pity, and a lot of men go through this. Mothers will paint a scenario, but fathers, because we are men, we don't speak. We're not trying to, pull out fact in this. And it's unfortunate. And so many men out there have gone through that. But as a mother and a father, we need to get to a point where at least let's co-parent in good will to make sure that at least our child grows up knowing that, listen, they may not still be together if that's the case. But at least I bring them together. Not to say that the mom says, hey, your father, this, that. And it has killed and destroyed so many people out there. Even up until today, there are people only when they grow up to find out, but wait a minute. The reason why my dad actually left, he never wanted to expose my mom, was because mom actually did this, but mom all these years made me believe
That it was
that
his
dad
fault.
was the bad guy. But dad, because he wanted to keep mom's reputation on a low, because mom's was in church, she was this, she was that, he decided to back away and take all the blame, but still he continued to be active in the child's life. So again, I say to all those parents out there, it's not a good thing to bring out guns and knives in front of kids, to have all this bickering.
Yeah.
Remember, you are teaching your children what it will be, because very soon they are going to be
They're going to have their own
parents.
families. Yeah.
And what you are modeling out, I've said this before, children do not listen to what you do, what you say. They watch what you do.
Absolutely.
So when you fail to honor, respect a father, a mother, when you speak ill about the father, and remember, Baba, dad, is the first superhero of a son and a daughter. So do not
Stripping
pour
their
debt
superhuman
and speak
powers
the worst about dad. One time, he was expecting to get a payment and he didn't, and then you are there taking out all the debt under the carpet, calling him this, that, you can't, you never, you always, in front of the kids. It does not build up a child that we want, especially tomorrow, because we need more fathers who are there for their children.
Absolutely.
And we need to let mothers, be a bit more affirmative to these amazing fathers who played a major role in bringing these people to life.
It's good to hear you speak on that aspect. Thank you so much for that. So we gathered some questions from some men who are in business, some fathers who are trying to make ends meet, bring things together, make it balance in those homes. And majority of the questions were around the mental health aspect of things, like, hey, the business is failing, I don't know how to keep it together in front of my wife and my children, but I couldn't even bring $10 home.
Yeah.
And there's things that need to be done. So we want to hear from your end. You've been in business for over a decade now, and definitely the ups and the downs were there. Your mental state was challenged or has been challenged, and you still managed to remain afloat. How are you doing it? How is George doing it? And how do you bring your mental state to be healthy?
I think one of the things that I've understood earlier on in business is that no man is an island, both in business and in life. So you'll find whenever you're in business, you always need a circle of people who can help you go through certain things. Now, we know the highest suicidal rate is found in men, because men take in so many bullets and they don't have a place to release this tension and get advice from other people. But when you have a circle, when you have a group of people, and sometimes it's very difficult to find a real group of people who you can sit down, confide in, who you can actually, tell all that's going on, and who can actually help you. But for me, thank God I found a very mature group of individuals, seasoned business people, Bible-believing Christians who have walked with me in the journey of entrepreneurship, of how to be an amazing dad, about how to be, keep your head up in business. And that's one of the major things. So you need to, in most churches, in most things, there's a men's group. And that group is a key place that at least you can go. It'll take some time for you to, settle down. But once you settle in, you can find a place to be able to speak. And you actually realize, wait a minute, I'm not the only one going through this turbulent time. There are other men, and how are they doing it? And then you find comfort in that. So I urge all men out there, it's important to seek a group of individuals who you can confide in. There are men's groups all over the place. And most of the time when you isolate yourself, this is where those voices begin to come in, which are not positive, are negative, because you are isolating yourself.
Right.
So as I began by answering, no man is an island. Men are there for each other. And the moment you join other similar-minded men, they will help you to conquer and go through a lot of things that you're facing, because there is nothing new under this earth. What you're going through, which you think is the worst thing on earth, somebody else has been through it, and they can actually walk you through it to say, listen, I did this and that, and this is how I overcame this. it's not the end of the world. Listen,
Right.
it's okay to downgrade your car. It's okay to sell your house.
Is it?
It's okay because
Because with men, there's this status thing that happens with cars, vehicles, or I don't know what you call them, men's toys, men and their toys. And the bigger the toy, the bigger the status,
Yeah.
or the more respect that the man gets. And now here you are saying downgrade. Doesn't that affect your mental
I've
state
seen
also?
I've seen
What will the other men say? Will
so-
men understand?
So this is the thing with life and business. There are always going to be seasons. Right now we're in a season where it's cold. We're coming out of summer, right? And so is it in life. There are times where you have abundance of money,
Come on.
right? You have 5-6 cars parked out. You've got a 10-story, 10-bedroomed house. You've all this, and yet you probably just have 4 kids. It's also advice that comes from people that I have hung around with, who actually, because at a certain time in their life they had excess, it was their summer. For us with Pro Air, summer is our best time because everybody is hot. But when it comes to winter, our sales seem to decline,
All right.
and we need to adjust. So adjusting to a man is very difficult, especially if you've been used to a certain lifestyle. But it does not change who you are. Remember, if you're staying, I remember a man said to me, all his kids went to university and they were stuck in the 6-bedroom house. They had 5 cars in the car lot, and they were wondering, what should we do? And they got advice to say, listen, now that all your kids are out, why not sell this house, go and get a 2-3-bedroom house in a far more gated community, instead of you sitting on capital which you can use to pay for those kids' university stuff, sell some cars and downgrade. It's a state of mind that somebody who is mature will realize.
Right.
But if you're somebody who I have to be seen driving that car, unfortunately that car is going to lead to more and more debt and more stress and pressure, because there are bills that need to be paid.
True.
But because you're holding on to status and the opinion of people, which in this day and time, it doesn't matter how you came to work, as long as you have a vehicle. It doesn't matter what type of a car. See, that's people's opinions you're trying to please. So we need to come to a place where, as men, priority is important. Let's prioritize what makes us happy and make sure that at least we've just got a roof over our head, instead of suffering in a 10-bedroom house with 6 cars outside, trying to live the part when things financially are not okay because of change of seasons in our lives.
All right. This one says, how can my mental health get stronger in a society where men have to provide and my job cannot even take care of myself?
Wow. And this is what we're always preaching here on Hustle Hard, that relying on this job alone is not the best of things.
Yeah.
Because sooner than later, there's going to come a time where your kids, right now I can only understand with the parents who have kids, some at private schools, and your company is helping you pay some of those things. But sooner than later, they're going to want to go to university. And university is not going to understand payment plan, because right now, locally, you can be able to say, end of the month, I'll do this, that, and the other. So you need to prepare yourself mentally to understand that, wait, there's a time where I need to up my streams of income. And I keep telling people that this job that's paying you what it's paying you, which you're not happy with, you need to start now making a deliberate plan to add your streams of income, so that you can have a lesser of a headache when that time comes. And the moment you have kids, understand this, it's a time bomb to say that your finances need to increase. The moment you have what is called a child, I love this sentiment, and people like this thing. There are people back in the day who had 10 kids and all of them went to school. Please note, those parents were actually going to work and doing something about it.
They were.
God does not provide for people just because you had a child. The word of God says God will bless the works of your hands. You gotta be doing something. So we have to increase these things that we are doing, not just rely on our job. Because if you just rely on that, every week I'm here to tell you, sooner than later. And I had messages last week, George, I lost my job. What you said was right. I was just told, thank you. Yeah, somebody younger came, and that's that. And this is the thing. That's going to happen to somebody. It's going to happen because companies are going to resize and downsize. And you're not going to be relevant anymore in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Yes, you listening to me now. 5 years from now, you're not going to have that post.
What's the plan?
And what's going to be taking care of your family, your household, your cars, all your school fees? You gotta have a backup plan if you're gonna survive in the next coming years.
Mr. K in South Africa says, phenomenal discussion. We men need to hear more of these discussions. Thank you very much. This one says, hey, Uncle Billy, komadiri anoitwa nevarume and they can't even share with their wives because they are not so clean. Tibatsiro. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I say that,
Madiri.
I've always said that there's a thin line between doing things without your spouse knowing. Because once you're married and you've got a wife, she's actually not your sixth sense, she's your better half.
Right.
And she can actually guide you in the right direction rather than you thinking, I don't have to tell my wife, I can do this without her and then surprise her, listen, we made this.
Right.
Most of the time you exclude your wife in some of these things. Most of the time, hear me. I didn't say all the time. Because there are some things as men, we need to take that risk and the reward comes.
Okay.
But it's important to share some of these things because otherwise there are people who have lost their houses because they took something and they put the title deeds wanting to surprise the wife when
And
something comes.
wrong.
Then it goes down and then the next thing, hi honey, I'm sorry I did this, but it's too late. Now your kids don't have a shelter. So do not omit information from your wife pertaining things that have to do, especially with something as big as your house. If it's something that's decent and you can recover from, it's okay. It's not a huge risk, but it's important to, have a conversation about this is what I'm thinking of doing. This is the return on investment. So I'm going to deal with the George. And sometimes she can give you intel to say, I just have a feeling about this. Don't do this.
Don't do this one.
And there's so many people who can say, yeah, my wife did, and yeah, I told you so, came through. So now I've learned to pass it through my wife before I do something. So madiri is exactly that. They are madiri. It's not long lasting. It's something that comes, it's not sustainable, and most of the time it will leave you in debt. So I don't really encourage madiri because it's not a formal way of making money. And also there's high risk context of it. We wouldn't want you, Dad, who wrote that question, to be behind bars and not be able to provide for your kids because of madiri.
So you are saying madiri are short-lived. Just do the thing, get out. Don't focus on it. Don't make that your source of income.
No, if madiri is your source of income, it's just a matter of time until something goes wrong. But have something that can sustain you, that is rooted, a business that, madiri is not the best way for a man to be making a living. Because once that avenue closes, your lifestyle, remember we spoke about it, 2007-8, money burning days. Once those things got shut off, and like now, if you look at it, our rate in the country is steady because all those avenues were closed. So how are you now going to pay your kids' fees, live that lifestyle once proper structure and order is put in a country? That's it for you. So madiri are not sustainable in the long term.
Right. With the time that we have left, this one says, hi Uncle Billy, I'm 2 years in business. How can I facilitate good mental states for my workers? How do I set it up?
Wow. So good mental state, I've always said this. And, we had a team building session done by Coach Taff recently.
Oh, nice.
It's always important. I'm a great motivational speaker. I think I'm one of the best speakers out there.
Absolutely.
But to my own staff, I cannot do what somebody else can do better than me. So it's important to engage in somebody, come and in-housely train your people because you'll learn a lot more from somebody outside. You can even highlight some of the key issues you want them to highlight on. But somebody outside comes, they encourage, they motivate. Exactly what you used to say to your own employees may be said differently, and they'll be receptive to it. And especially in the times that we're in now, it's important to have a well-motivated team that is hungry to go and chase. And most of the time, you may not be the best person to speak to your team. So, there are games, you can have some corporate games, go out, let people, relax, and then come back, rejuvenated and more hungrier to pursue the set targets and goals of the organization.
What's our Monday motivation that's going to carry us through this week? We need something to pump it up.
Right, so this week is going to be an amazing week, and I was talking to the amazing G's today. We had an amazing school run diaries.
Right.
And our word today is 3 P's. If you're ever going to be great in life, you need to be passionate. You gotta be passionate. You gotta be persistent. And you gotta be patient. If you have those 3 P's, you gotta be passionate about whatever you're doing. You gotta not give up, and you gotta be patient. Sooner than later, success is gonna come your way.
And that's all the time we have for Hustle Hard. It's 1 o'clock on Capital. Stand by for the news.